We are forwarding.
We are scoring.
And we are sportsing.
Welcome back to the Four Score Sports Podcast, your play-by-play source. I'm Christian, joined with
Nick.
Michael.
And Spencer.
Here.
Today we got a special episode today, an exclusive football episode talking about NFL free agency.
Oh, yeah.
Yippee.
All right, let's get straight into it.
Can I just say before we start,
Good Lord.
I love the way the NFL does free agency. Their free agency starts right as soon as it starts.
Deadline.
Teams are signing, players are going places, trades are happening. It's a busy time in the NFL. So they're just the best sport with free agency and
No, hands down.
down.
Especially
100%.
the last couple of years, they've been really cooking with free agency, where you see big names who you thought were going to be franchise guys just up and leave, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
you know, that's crazy. So it's,
Dude, I remember when Stephon got traded to Buffalo.
dude, that was wild.
Yeah, or when
That's huge.
when DeAndre got traded to Arizona.
Yeah.
Or Tyreek Hill going to
Tyreek was a big
That
one.
was a big one.
Russell Wilson being traded to Denver was a
Yeah,
big one.
I never thought Russell Wilson or even Bobby Wagner were gonna leave.
Or Aaron Rodgers even
Right?
going to New York.
yeah.
Like, that was a
Yeah.
wild one. Following in Brett Favre's footsteps, I guess. But we've made that joke enough times.
That's true, but I just like the way that they do it, and now that the salary cap's going up, we're gonna see more players going more places on
For
bigger deals.
Bigger bucks.
So I'm just really happy. Like, for example, the MLB right now, the season starts in 2 days, and
Snell's still not signed.
Snell's not signed, and a bunch of other big name players are not signed yet. So they just missed out on the entirety of spring training.
Yep.
They have what are they gonna do?
Oh no! I want to wait till March to make a decision.
Yeah. So I just wanted to start with that. I'm a huge fan of this, and I just love when it all happens at the same time because it's so entertaining, and
it's not dragged out.
It's not dragged out. We're getting more and more players signing new places every year.
No, it's good news. All around good news for everybody.
It was insane when it started because I was in class when it started, right at 11 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
It opened at 11. My class started at 11.
Just a phone just turned into
Dude,
a
I was
phone.
I was taking notes, scrolling on Twitter, texting the chat, taking notes, scrolling on Twitter, texting the chat. It was insane.
It basically was it was a contest of who could send what first.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have our own little reporter circle.
And one of those, to kick things off, one of those big signings on that first day was Saquon Barkley signing with the Philadelphia Eagles. I'll let Nick talk about it.
Listen, I heard traction being built up on the Eagles going for Saquon Barkley, and this was honestly, it started a week before free agency, and I was like, there's no way we can even afford this guy. I'm like, this guy's gonna ask for so much money because he knows he's worth more than what he was showing in New York. And then to see him just be so willing to come to Philadelphia, and just Howie Roseman being the best GM of all time, just going out and getting the deal done. Honestly, unbelievable right there. And what really sold it away is the fact that the first move on day one, literally the first move within 3 minutes of the deadline, or the free agency opening, was DeAndre Swift signing with Chicago, which we'll probably unpack a little bit later. But as soon as he leaves, open the floodgates for Saquon to sign an hour or two later. So, I mean, huge addition, makes that offense, honestly, completely unstoppable. Honestly, that offense might be the best in the NFL right now because you have the offensive line relatively did not change. Yeah, Kelce retired, but Cam Jurgens replaces him. Nearly 600 snaps, no pressures, no sacks allowed. So a great guy to replace him, and you add one of the best running backs in the league to an already dangerous offense. Mm-hmm. I just think it was a very smart deal, and for how cheap they got it too. I mean, come on. I mean, he signed for a 3-year, $25 million guaranteed contract, and that's one of the best in the game. Can't really do too much, ask for much more on that one.
Mm-hmm.
It's all fun and games until he wants to be traded because Jalen Hurts has stolen his 7th red zone touchdown by week 6.
I mean, okay. Talk about say quads, bro. He's gonna push Jalen Hurts 15 yards across that tush push, bro. He's gonna be the last piece we needed to make the tush push a 15-yard play every time.
The next one I want to talk about from that first day, and we can just talk about the team as a whole, is Kirk Cousins going to Atlanta.
Dude, that Atlanta team's cooking.
And
I'm not gonna lie.
real quickly, I'm just gonna add on to that. Atlanta also picked up Darnell Mooney, and I have Mooney on here twice. But honestly,
That offense is crazy.
yeah, the only thing that is kind of questionable to me is Atlanta could have had Lamar Jackson last offseason and turned him down. And now
They have a 36-year-old coming off an ACL.
Coming off of a torn ACL.
Yeah, it was ACL or Achilles. I don't remember.
Yeah. But if Cousins can recover well from that injury, I think this Atlanta team can be pretty good.
Because you got to think about it. So they've got Drake London, they've got Kyle Pitts,
and they got
Darnell Mooney, Bijan
Robinson,
Rondale Moore, who they also
Rondale
traded for when they traded away Desmond Ritter.
Who's not bad.
Ray McLeod, not that he's much of an offensive force, but he's still there.
Mm-hmm.
He's more of a return man, but he can be useful in the passing game.
Yeah, he can definitely be useful in the passing game. But that offense, once you add a quarterback that knows how to utilize their weapons, like Kirk Cousins goes to Minnesota and he immediately torches up with TJ Hawkinson and Justin Jefferson when he gets drafted. Like that team, it was an instant click, honestly. So it was, it's a good thing that they got someone like Kirk Cousins that can make those changes, and Drake London and Bijan and Kyle Pitts are all young. So less for him to have to worry about.
Next up on the little list I got here, talking about the Raiders picking up Christian Wilkinson and Gardner Minshew, as well as also trading away Josh Jacobs to Green Bay. Picking up Wilkins is a great signing, I think. Ever since I started watching football, I've genuinely never known a Raiders team with a solid defense. Like there have been good offenses, like that 2016 offense was insane. The 2020 offense was really good. It was just always the defense that lacked. And how fitting is it that, of course, now that the Raiders have a good defense, the offense is awful. But I think Wilkins is a great addition to pick up for the defense. It's gonna be insane watching him line up on the line alongside Max Crosby. On the offensive side of the ball, picking up Gardner Minshew, I think it's good competition for him and Aiden O'Connell. O'Connell showed some promise this past season, but overall, there's a lot that I'd like to see him improve on. And I think a little QB battle could be good for him. Yeah.
Gardner Minshew wasn't bad in Indianapolis when he came in for Anthony Richardson. He won some games to basically took him to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Which is not something to be ashamed of. Granted, you did have Jonathan Taylor and Michael Pittman, but I just think the Raiders need to figure out really what's going on at running back, because losing Josh Jacobs is a huge loss, and they only have Amir Abdullah right now. So
no, Zamir White.
Zamir White.
He was balling out last year.
He was balling out last year, but he ain't one of those guys.
He's not Josh Jacobs, but
certainly if he can take that next step,
a lot of potential, and I have faith in why am I blanking on his name? The coach, new coach, Antonio Pierce. Yeah, I got faith in him. Just the immediate turnaround that the team had when he came in was insane. And plus, yeah, like you said about Minshew, he had Jonathan Taylor and Michael Pittman. They're giving him Devontae Adams now.
Yeah.
Who's still,
and Jacoby Myers, who made
Jacoby Myers, who was great last season. So I definitely think if things pan out well, the Raiders could be a team to maybe make a bit of a splash this upcoming season.
That's definitely possible. I think realistically, I don't think at the end of the day it's going to change. I think you got to get through Kansas City, and
of course
in the AFC, regardless, you got to get through Kansas City.
Yeah,
and it doesn't help that you're in the same division. You got to play them twice, so you really kind of have to hunker down. That defense is definitely going to be able to stop the offense. It's a matter of can their offense keep up with the Chiefs' pretty talented defense.
Yeah,
even though they lost a few pieces, still a good defense.
It's still Is there anything you want to add or?
I pray on the Raiders' downfall every week. So
They're not even in the Bay anymore.
It does not matter.
That was a stupid rivalry to begin with. They're not even in the same conference.
It does not matter. I pray.
Honestly, in my opinion, the stupidest rivalries in sports: Dodgers Angels,
Crosstown.
That's a good one.
Giants A's, and Raiders Niners, and that was a thing. If they play if it's like the Kings and the Ducks, which play in the same division, okay, makes more sense. But they don't even play in the same conference. Like, whatever the Dodgers do does not affect the Angels, and whatever the Raiders did not affect the Niners. Like, I honestly don't care.
I think the Raiders Niners is a better rivalry because both teams have like a very strong fan base. With the Dodgers and the Angels don't really have that strong of a fan base, so it's always just going to be Dodgers. And same thing with like
Giants A's.
A's didn't really have a fan base, but they did when Ricky Henderson was there, and their team was really good. But still, like that fan base, that's why they get moved.
I just remembered the Giants A's one was a little more valid because they played each other in the World Series in '89.
Yeah.
That's okay. That makes more sense.
There's also the Yankees and the Mets. There's you could kind
of. Well, those
say,
are just New Yorkers.
Well,
yeah,
New Yorkers will just fight each other.
Here's the thing. I also get it if they're like in the same, like literally the same city. Like Rams Chargers, I get. Giants Jets, I get.
Lakers Clippers,
I get.
Hate those Clippers. Sorry.
Especially because that one they're also in the same division.
Yeah.
Anyways, up next I got Brian Burns going to New York. I just think it's funny, real quickly, that I believe it was last offseason. I forget when it was, but the Rams initially offered a trade to Carolina for Brian Burns.
Oh, really?
Offering 2 first-round picks. And Carolina turned it down. And they traded him to New York and got 0 first-round picks.
They got a 6.
They got a 6th.
Was there like a change in the front office at some point? Or
I don't
think
know.
so.
Not that I'm aware of.
No, there has not been.
Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Rams proposed a trade was last offseason.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just funny. They rented him for a year and we're like, all right, we're done with this. So, Carolina's gonna Carolina until they get either like a new owner or GM. That front office is going to sink that ship way before anything else gets to it. It's really sad. New York got a good one for him and Thibodeau across from each other are going to be really good.
That's going to be fun to watch.
I don't know about their interior D linemen, but I know for sure those two will wreak havoc.
In New York?
Yeah. Is there anything else that New York did that was noteworthy other than losing Saquon?
Drew Lock.
Yeah, they added Drew Lock, which is, I mean...
They got the crazy white boy QB room. It's mid-ass white QBs.
I guess it's just them being like, all right, we'll get someone solid in case Daniel Jones goes down again. But I don't see Daniel Jones necessarily losing that QB battle against Drew Lock. Drew Lock didn't really impress me when he came in last year. To be completely honest, he had like 1 or 2 lucky throws, and that was really it. But New York... having to replace Saquon, they pick up Devin Singletary, who I don't think was necessarily a bad pickup.
No, it's not a bad pickup. It's just not Saquon.
It's just not Saquon, and that offensive line was already bad, so you really have to have someone to make up for that. So, I think they added John Runyon Jr. from the Packers, who is a really, really solid offensive lineman. And you add Jermaine, I don't even know how to say his last name, but honestly, he's not even that great anyways. But I think that offensive line, it's just, there was no promise, and that offensive line was banged up. So I think that's the part that if they want to make a significant change in their offense, the offensive line is where they're going to have to do it. And I think the rest of the team can get by, if they don't necessarily do that. But also losing Xavier McKinney on the defense is not great. One of the best safeties in the league. But yeah, the Giants they'll make a couple steps forward and then they'll
take a couple
steps back.
Yeah, New York's gonna New York.
New York is gonna womp.
New York is gonna New York. Next team to talk about is Jacksonville, picking up Mac Jones and Danielle Hunter. The Mac Jones signing. I've been seeing a lot of comments from Patriots fans just saying like essentially the Patriots just failed him and Bill Belichick failed him.
100%.
100%. And if I'm not, Doug Peterson is still in Jacksonville right now, right? Okay, yeah. I think there is a possible rebound for Mac Jones down in Jacksonville. It's possible. It's possible.
He's got to fight with C.J. Beathard.
Oh, C.J. Beathard, the greatest quarterback to ever grace the field, and some dude named Trevor Lawrence.
And yeah, I don't know why I forgot about T-Law. But Danielle Hunter on the other hand.
Danielle Hunter went to Houston.
You're thinking of Eric Armstead.
Eric Armstead.
So
okay.
I will speak.
Eric Armstead.
So Eric Armstead, watching him leave, broke my heart. I'm not gonna lie. He was captain for so many years. He was on the team for 9 years. Probably one of the first Niners players I saw drafted. Was a huge part of the community. Walter Payton Man of the Year candidate every year. Never got one, but he always fought for one. Is a really solid D tackle. He's like 6'7", 6'8", like 315 pounds, 325, something absurd like that. Big dude. His only flaw that I can realistically think of was he was on and off the field due to injuries a lot. So when he was good and drawing double teams and having almost double-digit sack seasons, which it's hard to do for a D tackle, we all know that. And when he played with Buckner, that 2019 season, phenomenal. And we gave him that extension. We traded Buckner. Like, looking back at it, I knew it at the second we traded Buckner, we should have kept him instead. But, had to ride it with Armstead. And he was serviceable when he was healthy. So if Jacksonville can get him while he's healthy, then he'll be a good D tackle and help out that D line. But it's really the question of, can he stay healthy down there?
And if he can, I think him alongside Josh Allen is
100%.
So scary for opposing quarterbacks.
Because him with Bosa and Randy Gregory, or him with Bosa and D Ford, when D Ford was healthy, like that, that Niners D line was the best in the league. There was no question about it. It took us to multiple Super Bowls because of his performance along with the rest of the D line. But it's just can he stay healthy to contribute to that great D line?
Here's the thing, I really like that signing because that's a position of need they've always had.
Yes.
I mean, I feel like if you look
Since
back
Calais.
Honestly, if you look back to Saxonville and that playoff push, that was the last time they really had a decent. Honestly, that defense wasn't even that great.
Well, you had Jalen Ramsey, Calais Campbell, Miles.
Wasn't that great, but I think that defense in general was really good. And I've actually, this last season, I don't know why I felt like I was a big fan of that Jacksonville team. I just think they had something to them. And with their additions this offseason, not counting Mac Jones, because really I can't call it a great addition, but like, honestly, that offense with Trevor Lawrence, Etienne, Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis, Zay Jones, Evan Ingram, like, that's some weapons. I mean, it's not the best at all those positions, but I'm a firm believer that if you have a good all-around offense, it's better than having two absolute studs and everyone else being garbage. I've always said that. And their offensive line is good too. It's not the best, but it's good. And that defense with Eric Armstead, Josh Allen, Devin Lloyd, Trayvon Walker, oh my gosh.
It's just, again, if he stays healthy.
Healthy.
I witnessed it for 9 years. If he stays healthy, it'll be great for them. If he doesn't, then it's a waste of money. But what I found out is the Niners offered him the same amount of money for the same time. I think the only reason he didn't take it was because of California taxes.
Probably.
Which I would not be surprised.
Especially now going to Florida.
Exactly.
I don't think their taxes are that high.
No.
They're still high, but yeah.
It's not like...
Yeah, they're not as high.
It's like when Seager went to Texas instead of staying with us. Is because, taxes.
Too much here.
Yeah.
I also think, like, it's also a good deal for them because, like, they got 3 years from him. So it's not like they just signed him for a 1-year prove-it deal. If he's injured this season, they can afford to let him just cook and let him get healthy. And, you just gotta believe that he can play. And when he's on the field, I mean, Spencer can tell you, he's a force to be reckoned with.
Dude, fucking 6'7", 300 pounds. That's, gnarly.
He gets home, but yeah.
The Washington Commanders picked up Antonio Gibson, Austin Eckler, and Bobby Wagner. Honestly, I don't know too much about Washington's current situation other than
it's awful.
Yeah, other than it's not good. I mean, maybe with the new owner now, they can have somewhat of a bright future, but
Listen, they just need to draft a quarterback.
mhm.
They it's apparent.
Yeah,
they have Marcus
they need
Mariota
a
and Jake
quarterback.
Fromm. Like, come on.
Like, not
please.
From.
Jake
That's the name I haven't
Fromm.
heard.
Like, please, like that's all they have right now, and that offense, not gonna lie, could be kind of scary with
With a good quarterback.
a good
Did they
quarterback.
just also lose Curtis Samuel?
They did,
I
but
think so.
they did lose Curtis Samuel. I don't remember where he went, but they still have Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, and Jamison Crowder, which is a very solid 3 receivers. Adding Zach Ertz, adding a receiving back, one of the best receiving backs in the NFL, Austin Eckler. You know, I mean, that's not a bad offense at all. And you get a good quarterback there, and you can let it cook for a little bit and let some
And then
progress.
having Bobby Wagner on defense. Sure, obviously he's not this as dominant as he was during the Legion of Boom era, but
Definitely not.
it's definitely going to be great for like the younger guys on Washington's roster to have a generational talent like Wagner to learn
Oh,
from.
definitely. And they added Jeremy Chin too, who's a really freaking good safety to add to that pretty loaded
And
secondary.
even if because Wagner's on what, a 1-year deal here?
Wagner.
Because I'm going based off of
Yeah, 1-year deal.
Okay, yeah, because like the Rams had him for 1 year, and what I noticed was like as soon as I think it was Ernest, I forget which player it was, but the impact that just having Wagner there for the 1 season made on our
Definitely.
linebackers really helped. Our linebackers this
Definitely.
season were a lot better than they were last season. Like even just having him for the 1 year.
Yeah, because I mean it's a veteran force, and it's somebody who's actually still competing at a high level. Like even though his numbers dropped, and he might not be the best, you know, he's not your first option at linebacker. He's bringing that veteran force.
He's still putting up almost 100 tackles a season.
Yeah, no,
sure.
he's still a great player.
Yeah, and he's not making the big bedazzling plays, but he's being consistent, which is what you want, and somebody that can mentor the younger guys and just be like, hey, look, I was so good for so long. Let me give you some knowledge, and then boom, knowledge bomb.
Yeah.
On those linebackers.
Yeah. The Cleveland Browns picked up Jameis Winston and Jerry Jeudy.
I think Winston's a good pickup, and I'll explain why. He's a locker room light. You can use him to get away from distractions. He's a good, happy, good source of just motivation. He might not be the best player on the team. He can be definitely a solid backup for Deshaun Watson if and when Watson goes down, because he's got some health issues. But I see Winston more as like a morale signing as well as a solid backup.
Yeah. And what also kind of came to mind for me from the Winston signing was because if I'm not mistaken, or no, Winston's like a couple years older than Deshaun, right?
Yeah.
Not too much older.
Yeah. So could we potentially see, because honestly, like, what does Deshaun Watson's future in Cleveland really look like?
What does Deshaun's football future look like?
Exactly.
After Houston, we have no idea.
Exactly, because if I'm not mistaken, he hasn't made as much of an impact on Cleveland as he has Houston when he was there. But I will also say the Jerry Jeudy signing, I think, is really good. I mean, especially seeing how Cleveland's offense was last year with dinosaur at quarterback, Joe Flacco.
Bro's cooking.
And then
was steaming.
And another thing to consider is you're going to get Nick Chubb back this upcoming season.
Don't remind me. You ruined my fantasy football league.
It's not my fault you drafted him.
Not my fault he got injured.
You know what was my fault, though? Was deciding to take Justin Jefferson at both number 1 picks that I had in 2 different leagues.
Yeah, and you lost both of those leagues.
Well, I came in second in one of them, and I don't even know what happened to the other one.
But
that's
hey,
besides the
it's
point.
not bad.
Next time, if I get a top 2 pick, it's going to CMC. It's not even a debate.
Got him. But no, yeah. I think Jameis Winston's a really good backup. I'm just going to say that Deshaun Watson, like, he just really puzzles me, because I'm like, he has the skill set, and we saw the skill set when he was playing. It's just he took such a long gap from the game that it's almost like you kind of forget, almost not forget how to play, but you kind of forget what made you that good in the first place. And I think that's what happens with a lot of players that have to take a long break from the game, either through court cases or injuries, substantial injuries. It's really unfortunate, but yeah, I mean, assuming Deshaun Watson can start slinging it like he was in Houston, I mean, that's not a bad team either. I think that team could compete. I think that division can make the Steelers lose their record.
I doubt it.
All right, and speaking of the Steelers, I kind of want to group the Steelers and the Bears together. As of today, March, the day we're recording this, March 16th, 2024, the Chicago Bears have traded Justin Fields to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, it's also, of course, worth noting the Steelers also picked up Russell Wilson this offseason. I think this trade has the potential to work out for both teams involved. Obviously, like Russell Wilson's not the same player he was back in Seattle. That was abundantly clear with Denver. But he still has the ability to pass down whatever knowledge and skill sets he has and pass them on to another mobile quarterback in Justin Fields. And so I think it could work out for Fields having a mentor like Russell Wilson to sit behind for however long Wilson ends up being in Pittsburgh. And then for Chicago, they're going to draft Caleb Williams. There's no question about that now.
But honestly, Caleb Williams is probably going into the best scenario he realistically can.
I agree.
Because you look at that Bears team, which I will mention one of their free agents, or a couple of their free agent signings. One of those being Keenan Allen, which I think is a huge pick. He wasn't a free agent; he was a trade. Or was it a trade?
No, it was a trade.
Okay,
It was a trade.
yeah, it was a trade.
For like a 6th round pick.
Yeah, it's absolutely asinine. But one of the greatest pass catchers of this generation. He's been so super consistent. Him in the last 5 seasons has more receiving yards than the Bears' all-time receiver. So Caleb Williams is going into with the new pickup of DeAndre Swift, if I'm correct.
Yes, DeAndre Swift. Let me try to find this other post because I saw this post the other day of like a possible Chicago what's it called? Offense.
I could tell you if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
It would be Caleb Williams, DeAndre Swift, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Cole Kmet would be that offense.
That's a good looking offense.
Honestly, not bad.
Not bad at all. They just need a third wide receiver, and then they'd be pretty solid. But I mean, hey, that offense looks pretty good. I mean, especially in comparison to what it was last season and the year before. I mean, adding DJ Moore last year was something that I had confidence in. I still do think Justin Fields has a lot of skill and a lot of potential, but not in that offensive scheme.
Yeah.
I did really like the way that Justin Fields started clicking with Cole Kmet and DJ Moore at the end of that last season. Like, I just think that they were clicking. They're finally getting it. So I think, like, it's going to hurt him leaving that situation. But also, whoever the Bears draft at number 1, I'm not too convinced it's Caleb Williams at this point. But I just think that, like, whatever quarterback they go with, as long as it's not J.J. McCarthy, like
that would be a pickup.
That will be the worst pickup. That'll be the worst draft pick
100%
in the history.
It will definitely be a reach.
That'll be the next what's his name? Raiders. Jamarcus Russell.
Literally, like I just think like that's just such an awful situation for him to go to. But that's besides the point. I just think like whatever quarterback they pick up is going to be blessed with this situation. Like the Bears set themselves up perfectly. They just need that quarterback to not be a bust.
Yeah.
That's all they need.
keeping it in the same division, the NFC North, the Packers and Vikings both making some moves.
They made some big moves.
I think we touched a bit earlier, the Packers getting Josh Jacobs from the Raiders, and then also releasing Aaron Jones, who ended up signing with division rival Minnesota Vikings.
Oh yeah.
We've had a lot of rival signings this offseason.
Oh yeah.
More than previous years, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, that Josh Jacobs signing for Green Bay was probably one of their best moves. Getting Jordan Love some more help, both in the backfield as well as, in a receiving game that is starting to come to fruition. Christian Watson's growing as a receiver, so take a little bit of pressure off them with Jacobs. I do think they did Aaron Jones super dirty. Super dirty. For what he put in for Green Bay, only to be cut like that was foul.
Well, from what I remember, if I'm not mistaken, they asked Jones to take a pay cut, which he refused. And then they cut him.
Yeah, but with the season he had, why are you asking him to take a pay cut?
Yeah, and it was at the beginning of last season, they were already, I don't know what it was, because I had Aaron Jones on my fantasy team 2 years ago. He was freaking lights out. He was amazing. Mm-hmm. And then they announced during the offseason and during OTAs, they're like, yeah, it looks like we're going to try to lean more on A.J. Dillon this year. Why? You have a really good running back in Aaron Jones right here. Why are you going with A.J. Dillon? Yeah, A.J. Dillon's a great, talented running back. He's no Aaron Jones, and he never was going to be. No. And so when they leaned more on him, and he started to struggle, Aaron Jones was like, I got you, and ran right in and took over that offense again and got them to the playoffs.
So then why are you asking him to take a pay cut?
Exactly.
I just I don't know. But then, going, all right, cool. And then trading for a running back who arguably will cost you more in the future is going to be nuts.
Yeah, sign Josh Jacobs to a 4-year, $48 million deal.
You couldn't give Jones a little less than that? And just
I'll tell you, Aaron Jones signed for a $7 million deal. 1 year, $7 million. Josh Jacobs in his first year is going to make $14.8 million.
I think the $7 million is just to say, F you to Green Bay. I'm going to play you twice a year. I'm going to screw you
for
over.
Less.
Yeah, and especially with Minnesota's QB situation, that being Sam Darnold for a year, $10 million. They're definitely going to be running the ball pretty heavily unless, Minnesota picks up a QB that is going to be absolutely lights out. No disrespect to Sam Darnold.
Ryan Tannehill.
Going from Kirk Cousins to Ryan Tannehill, if you had told me that probably 10 years ago, I would have been like, oh my god, that's wild. But now it's like, dude, they're both dinosaurs. So, he definitely took that as an FU deal to Green Bay.
Honestly. I love it when players kind of do that. I just hate when you screw over one of your, really talented players and that a fan favorite, honestly. A fan favorite player. I hate when teams screw them over.
And Aaron Jones was, I think, a huge favorite in Green Bay. So
he was big.
So I don't understand the thought process.
It's gonna be actually really funky to see him in a purple jersey.
If we also want to talk about rivalry signings, Patrick Queen, if we didn't touch that.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we didn't cover that one.
You're dead to me. Oh wait, we didn't even talk about the Saquon. The Tiki Barber sent to Saquon.
Tiki Barber has CTE, bro. He needs to stop. He needs to put down his Twitter, bro. Delete his account.
No, for real. But then everybody on Baltimore took it pretty well. But I mean, that's a huge signing for Pittsburgh to have another solid linebacker across.
Was that a signing or was that a trade? I thought that was a trade.
It was a signing.
Oh, okay.
Was pretty big.
I think we also forgot to talk about. I don't know how we missed this. This is a rivalry that has come up more in the past couple of years. Derrick Henry signing with the Ravens.
That was crazy.
I never saw that as a real rivalry.
It more so came up after 2019.
Well, I can definitely say that Baltimore team is terrifying to look at.
Oh, 100%. The run game?
But the RPOs between Derrick and Lamar will be absolutely asinine.
Mm-hmm.
Watching, this 6'3", 220-pound behemoth just run through that absolutely built O-line is, and then this was with the wide receiver core. If I remember, it's Zay Flowers.
Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman in better hands than Aguilar. Y'all don't know what I'm talking about?
I I don't know who has better hands than Aguilar. I'm not
Oh, okay. Well,
No one is better
it's like
hands
this
than
clip when the Eagles went to the Super Bowl the year after. Aguilar literally could not catch a single.
Oh yeah,
ball
he had
for his
butter,
life.
but he had bricks for hands.
And there was a news clip from some guy in Philadelphia. They it was like there was a bunch of kids in a burning building, and they were like literally like tossing the kids out.
Oh, it was like the firefighters and like the random dudes.
No,
It was
the random dude,
Yeah,
and he
better
was
hands
like,
than Aguilar.
he's
I
like,
remember
at least
that.
we have better hands than fucking Aguilar. It's just an all-time clip.
No, I remember that. That was
It is
gold.
so funny. But so now I always call him better hands than Aguilar. And then Mark Andrews, second best tight end, third best tight end in the league.
Definitely,
come on.
Definitely top 3 tight end. I won't even disagree
Like,
with that.
oh.
So no, that offense, it's just they gotta capitalize on it because they had such a good offense and were steamrolling teams last year, and they've only gotten better. This is like a do or die in my mind.
Honestly, if they had utilized the run game more against Kansas City,
They would've won.
it would have been them in the Super Bowl.
You could have said that about any team that played Kansas City in this playoffs. The entire playoffs. If you would just run the football more, they don't know how to defend the run, especially when you have guys like who was on that Be More team. Was it like Gus Edwards?
Yeah.
So you've got Gus Edwards, CMC,
Justice Hill.
I'm trying to remember who did they play Buffalo? Who was
I think they did play
Houston's
Buffalo.
Houston's running back? I don't remember who Houston's running back was.
Singletary.
No.
No.
Was he? No.
It wasn't.
Damian Pierce.
Pierce.
Yeah.
Or whatever
Regardless,
his name is.
you've got such good running backs. Wait, no, they played Baltimore, not
I'm just
Kansas
gonna
City.
look- I'm just gonna
I'm thinking
look it
Kansas City.
Anyways.
Regardless, the point
Anyways.
is the run game was effective against Kansas City, and nobody utilized it past the first half of each of those games, and it was stupid. So now that they've got Derrick Henry, they've got to push that home, and they've really got to like cement themselves.
Yeah, and I think it played into their cards so perfectly because they were, and I really do feel bad for J.K. Dobbins. I really do. Homie could not stay healthy through, he couldn't play like 2 games healthy. I do really feel bad for him. He's currently unsigned. But they just knew that wasn't going to be a fix. And having that Gus Edwards, Justice Hill, whatever was going on there wasn't the fix either.
No, the 300.
And just here is Derrick Henry on a silver platter coming off a down year, but still has that talent.
He still rushed for over 1,000 yards.
Still rushed over 1,000 yards, but that was also because he had like the league high carries by like 500 carries. Like literally on a silver platter, unsigned, has no interest going back to Tennessee. Boom, right there. And that's a perfect fit because they needed a power rusher. They don't need these guys that are elusive because Lamar, he doesn't see a pass. He just can juke around all the guys. They also have Justice Hill, who was really good elusive back for them last year. And then just the passing options too. It's just I don't think you beat that team.
No, that Be More team is going to be a menace.
Yeah. A relatively minor signing, but I just forgot to bring it up. I ended up scrolling past it. Hollywood Brown going to Kansas City.
That is not a minor signing, bro.
Well,
That's probably
okay.
the best receiver they have on that team now.
I say it's a minor signing because
Best receiver since Tyreek Hill.
because I the only reason I say that is because wide receiver was an issue that the Chiefs had last season, and they still won the fucking Super Bowl.
Yeah,
So,
but it wasn't because of their wide receivers. I can tell you that.
it
But
wasn't,
Rashee Rice
but-
was a dog through that last.
The last stretch of the season,
That
sure,
stretch of the
he'd
season.
finally come into his role as the number one. But you want to look at that Kadarius Toney MVS, like they weren't doing what they were really supposed to.
No.
especially
Kadarius Toney had so much potential. Oh my gosh. Just like the catches he would make in New York. I was like, bro, how is this guy not much better than he is? And then he gets all this fame and then he just goes, I guess I won't catch a ball. I guess I'll line up off sides. Like I just
I wonder why I'm a healthy scratch for all of playoffs. Like,
Exactly.
dude, come on.
Wasn't he? Yeah, he was a
He was a healthy scratch
for the Super Bowl.
for like 3 games in the playoffs.
bro stole a ring.
Bro, dead ass. Dead
Yeah.
ass. They should have started him. I'm sorry. But yeah, no. Marquise Brown's a really good sign. He's great speed that Mahomes can use downfield. He's no Tyreek Hill, but he's definitely like a great deep threat they can use.
It's just crazy because the NFL right now, it doesn't seem that they have too many guys that are ring chasing.
Not this season.
This season, because I'm like, if I was one of the top wide receivers and I was like, oh, I can sign with whoever I want, why would I not hit up the Chiefs and be like, yo, I'm a good wide receiver, you guys need that?
It would be like, for me, it
Yeah.
would be like okay, be more KC, San Fran, and like one more NFC West, or not NFC West, but like NFC team in general.
Detroit, maybe.
Detroit, especially Detroit. Give some help.
Philly.
You guys aren't even making that for anyways, but that's neither here nor there.
Gives more help to Amon-Ra.
Yeah, yes, that's what I said. Give Jared Goff a little more, you know.
We already have too many weapons.
Crickets, buddy.
Too bad. We have too many. We have too many weapons.
You know what I have to say to that?
Dallas Goddard,
Baker Mayfield.
Baker.
Speaking of
Touchdown
Baker.
maker.
Baker and Mike Evans did re-sign to Tampa Bay, so they are not falling into shambles. Quite yet.
We'll touch more on some like restructures and re-signings in a bit, as well as some retirements, because there's one that has been on my mind. It only happened yesterday, but I've been in my feels. But before
you've been in your feels, oh buddy, you don't even know in your feels.
Before we get to that though, last couple little free agency signings I want to talk about. I don't know if you wanted to talk about C.J. Gardner-Johnson coming back to Philly.
I actually do, and I won't take up too much time because I've already kind of talked about the Eagles situation. I really liked that whole defensive decision to kind of just like take a step back and completely restructure that entire defense, because that entire defense was god awful last season. And one of the things that they were lacking that goes beyond the play style is personality. There was no personality on that defense. And that's what I really liked from Gardner-Johnson when we had him the first time. Bro had 6 picks in 12 games. Like, that's an unreal pace. And he also he runs his mouth like nobody other in the most funny way. And then everyone was like, oh, he's back after absolutely bad-mouthing the Eagles when, you know, he left the first time. And I was like, bro, it's business. Like, at the end of the day, you got to realize this is business. And, you know, if you get, we did him dirty. Admittedly, we did him kind of dirty with the way we just kind of, like, moved on from him once he got injured. We didn't really give him much time when he came back. So the fact that he now wants to be back, really just play for that team, and he really fit in. Like, honestly, like, he gave the defense that personality that Philly is known for. Just talking trash, playing a little bit dirty, playing a little, stretching the bounds of what you can do, and playing well. I think it's a good signing. Not the best safety out there on the market, not the most shiny, flashy player, but a personality that I can't complain with.
It works in Philly's defense.
Definitely works in Philly's defense.
Yeah. Really the last 2 signings I really want to touch on. Desmond Ridder going to Arizona.
He's just sitting back.
Yeah, he's just going to sit behind Kyler.
Not much to do there. Let's be real.
And then going back to the Rams, Jimmy Garoppolo signing. Realistically, I mean, it's just good veteran backup.
It's
I guess
from
a career backup.
But Stafford's a good veteran.
Yeah, but like it's just good to have like a veteran backup in case he goes down.
You gotta look at it, because when Jimmy G has good weapons, he does well. Like, that's no question. So when you give him, because he had in that Super Bowl run and even that NFC Championship run the year or 2 after, you know, having Debo and Ayuk, Debo and Emmanuel Sanders, you know, he played really well, like had some of his best seasons. So even that he's playing a backup role to Stafford, Stafford's getting older, and Stafford has been injured a lot in the past. Whether he likes to play through it or not, it's known that he gets injured.
Yeah.
So having a keyword solid backup who can just get the ball to your playmakers and let them do what they need to do, especially with Jimmy G having a winning record as a starter, and has he's proven coming off the bench or being a starter, I can go in and make plays.
He's no Nick Foles.
No,
let's just be real.
Well, Nick Foles also fell off the face of the earth, so he's not really
he's
a good
pickleball
example.
champion. I don't know what you were talking about.
Anyways, besides the point, it's also I also see it as another rival signing. You know, he knows Shanahan's system. He knows what's going on. You know, I know McVay and crew always are gonna try and get a leg up and see what they can do when it comes to finding out how opposing coaches think and run their schemes. I doubt it'll be that much of a help, because playbooks change a shit ton. And if you watch how Purdy or Lance played, the playbook was extremely different than what he gave to Garoppolo. But I still see the vision on what the Rams were trying to do there.
Honestly, I don't know if that's as big a part of it because signing veteran players as free agents has been a bit of a trend in the McVay era. I mean, we had Bortles as a backup for a while. We had Carson Wentz.
But I'm saying is like the Jimmy G signing has a little more like depth of history than the other two. So that's just my like rationalization.
No, there's
of it.
history there. There's history.
That's what I'm saying. It's
and,
like there's more.
and
Carson Wentz, there's history.
Yeah, damn near killing him. But that's what's
I'll never forgive the Rams for that. I was there at that game.
It's like he didn't win the Super Bowl that year anyway. Fucking get over it. He won the fucking Super Bowl.
And then it would help like worst case scenario Stafford because overall Stafford is a better quarterback.
Because it also begs the question: do you trust Stetson Bennett at this point?
I mean, he's damn near the same age as Stafford.
Yeah, for real.
What about dress or win?
I wouldn't be surprised. Honestly, I kind of expect the Rams to draft a quarterback in the draft this year, maybe in the 3rd or 4th round.
I can see it.
But yeah, no, like worst case scenario, Stafford goes down. I think having Garoppolo in McVay's system, with guys like Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, who's robbed of Offensive Player of the Year, but that's a different discussion.
Not even
Tyler Higbee, yes.
Kyren
Williams, new addition, Colby Parkinson, who's also
some tight end from the Seahawks.
He's a tight end from Seattle, but from LA, and is also fucking 6'7". He's a giant.
Yeah, but I also already warned you, being that tall brings injuries.
But regardless, I mean,
it's definitely an interesting signing. We'll have to watch all season.
Yeah. Plus,
if he gets playing time or not, he'll definitely get some preseason action. So that'll give you like an example.
Yeah.
But
plus, I I mentioned this yesterday, but does help having a better coach now.
He's not, but whatever.
Ring check.
No, it doesn't even matter.
Ring check.
Doesn't even matter.
Ring check.
Andy Reid
ring check your balls in a second.
Andy Reid didn't win his first ring until 15 years into his career. So
damn, couldn't be McVay.
Damn, couldn't buy your way to a Super Bowl. Andy
Reid didn't.
Andy Reid did it
the Super Bowl MVP was a homegrown player.
No.
Cooper Kupp was drafted by LA.
He was homegrown.
What are you talking about? He was drafted here.
That doesn't matter. He played. Didn't he play for?
He's saying he played
Washington?
in our system.
Yeah, for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Or like 4 years.
Yeah.
That's not homegrown.
When people say homegrown players, they mean like drafted by that team.
Not in their birth town.
Exactly. Cooper Kupp was drafted
I've
by
only ever heard
the
homegrown
Rams.
talking about their college was here. Oh, they went to school and high school.
Because I've heard.
Do you think about it that way, Nick?
What?
The term homegrown. What do you think of homegrown means?
When you say homegrown, it's where they were like born and where they were raised.
Well, but homegrown player like.
Oh no, it's fully like. So like if I played hockey right now and I played for the Kings, I'd be homegrown.
Thank you.
It wouldn't be where I'm drafted. Wouldn't necessarily be where I'm drafted.
Philadelphia would have been a better example for him. He thinks homegrown means talent grown in like you're born in Boise, Idaho, and you played well in Boise, Idaho.
Trevor Moore is a perfect example of homegrown.
Yeah, Trevor Moore is homegrown.
No, he's not. Trevor Moore came from Toronto.
I'm talking like when they get to the professional league.
Yes,
well, you can also look at it this way. It could also be like a team they like idolized growing up. So like if I
look at it like
so
that.
If I like played football right now and I played on the Eagles, I'd be more or less homegrown an Eagles fan, like Eagles player. But I wouldn't necessarily say like, drafted because like talk about Justin Jefferson. I wouldn't consider him homegrown. Even though he's been good his entire time on Minnesota and they drafted him. I wouldn't say he's homegrown unless he was from Minnesota and he has some type of identifier in Minnesota. I don't know. I feel like I kind of agree with... I see what you guys are getting at. It's not I don't see what you guys are getting at, but I feel like it more makes sense if you're talking about somebody who actually has identity with the city. When you're talking about homegrown... Like, I feel like there's a better term for what you guys are talking about.
Like Eric Armstead, for example. They always refer to him as like Sacramento's finest. Like bro's from Sacramento. Or
yeah,
I think
that would
he was.
be more or less homegrown.
Yeah, so it's just... Homegrown is...
I've always
From
heard.
the area.
I've always heard like.
I don't know who you're hearing it from.
I mean,
Tom.
I
No,
just
I see.
feel like
I see it. Okay, I'll tell you
there's
more.
got to be a better term for what you're trying to talk about.
Like developed in the system, sure, like that makes sense. But like homegrown is like you're like if Brady played for the Niners, Brady is homegrown because Brady's from San Mateo. Like that is homegrown.
I'll say this. I see it. I've heard it a lot from Dodger fans. Like in defense of like the 2020 World Series, saying like most of the players on the roster were homegrown.
Well,
like guys like Will Smith, Cody Bellinger,
that's
Corey
because
Seager.
the farm system. The farm system is completely different in baseball than it is for football. But the farm system is like that AAA team is in OKC, and they do spring training in Arizona. Cody Bellinger's from Arizona.
Oh wait, never mind. I mean, well, if you want to look at, so this is what the MLS describes as a homegrown player. To place a player on its homegrown player list, making him eligible to sign as a homegrown player. Players must have resided in that club's home territory or participated in the club's youth development system.
Yeah, but that's soccer. That's not a real sport.
That is
it's the most viewed sport on the planet.
That's like
because they just don't have they don't have our version of football.
Yes, they do.
Not on the same level. If they did, I promise.
The NFL sells out in Europe and South America all the time.
Not as like an official stat. I mean, it's just like a term. I mean, like you get Aaron Donald was drafted by Rams.
He was drafted by the Rams.
Aaron Donald was drafted by the Rams. He's from where? Pittsburgh.
He's from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, homegrown. He calls L.A. his home because that's where his first team was. That's home.
Well, technically, he was drafted in St. Louis, but he's always been with the
franchise.
Rams.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn it! Where's a good example of this? I'm trying to think of a good example.
But no. I feel like Aaron Donald is a good example because it's the same franchise. He's been with the same franchise.
This has nothing to do with like geographical location. This is just a term for their first team, and that's where they developed it.
Okay,
that's what Michael and I mean.
Yeah.
Okay, I literally just like looked it up and like looked it all over the internet for it, and I see definitions for both sides, like quite literally for both sides. Like the MLS one that I read literally says where they grew up in, but there was another MLS team that said that their qualified would be if they were drafted. And then another one I saw was like from the ages 15 to 17 if they played more than 2 years on that team, that was their
Well, 15 to 17, they're fucking
Sorry,
children.
15 to 21.
Yeah, they're children at that point.
My bad.
Okay, anyway.
I completely forgot what I was initially arguing.
What were we on about?
Regardless, we're done with free agency. That
was the end of free agency.
The
big signings.
Yeah, what we can talk about first, because I know Nick and I both have news that's been heavy on our hearts that we want to talk about. Before we get to that, though, some players that are still available. We got Mike Williams, Stephon Gilmore, Chase Young, Jadeveon Clowney, Justin Simmons, Calais Campbell, Adoree Jackson, Ryan Tannehill, Odell Beckham, Tyler Boyd, Micah Hyde, and Michael Thomas.
I'm praying.
Real quickly, I just need to say, the fall off of Michael Thomas needs to be studied.
It's really
it's
not.
Just,
he's
it's
been
what happens when you get injured.
He's also
suicide passes.
He's the guy from that one fucking SpongeBob episode.
The guy from Fortnite.
No, he's the guy from that SpongeBob episode. Every morning I wake up, I break my legs.
Dude, he was always injured. I have no idea why. But it's because he kept getting fed. Like
that's Anthony Davis.
Hey,
put down.
No. Speaking of Anthony Davis, I got the alert from Twitter. He's out of the game right now.
Eye contusion.
And also,
he got swatted in the face.
He's gonna be wearing a mask.
And end of the third, Warriors up 102-93.
Yeah, because you had to take AD out, but that's besides the point.
He's just made of glass. That's all.
I literally watched your guy swing his full forearm.
Yeah, and Kuminga literally tried to kill Embiid, but that doesn't get talked about.
We literally talked about it. You
know what?
can't use that against me. I was on your side for that.
I know. I'm just saying in general.
You know. All I have to say, just get better. Anyways,
stop trying to kill players. You guys are doing the same thing we get mad at Philly for.
Yeah, womp womp, my guy.
Hey, Kuminga's MVP. That's all I need to say. But also, Michael Thomas looks like Easter Island. Anyways,
we've been over that.
Oh God. That's what I'm saying. Oh God.
There are a couple teams that could use Chase Young.
Yes.
I think almost any team could use Chase Young.
Well, yeah,
he puts in the effort.
Well, Chase Young's kind of.
No, dude, he immediately had a huge impact. Oh, sorry, I gotta close my. I forgot, I'm walking away here. Chase Young had an immediate impact on the Niners for the first couple of games. Playoffs came around, and he went, "I'm not gonna hustle anymore." And look what happened. all of our defensive.
He was allowed to do whatever the hell he wanted in Washington, so now he's just like, oh, I'm just so good.
I want to stay with Bosa, yippee. And now, no, he's got to put some effort in. He's a great player when he puts effort in. That's my piece.
And then the two other big ones I want to talk about, Tyler Boyd.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there were a lot of teams that could use his help, and also Odell Beckham. Because
jeez,
I have to be that guy. OBJ's washed, bro. OBJ's old.
Okay, he didn't do much this past season with Baltimore, but
Dude,
look at what he did with the Rams.
He's old, and that was he tore his ACL, and then went to be more, and then didn't do much of be more.
Well, he also just wasn't getting targeted. Like, okay, I vividly remember I was sitting in Yard House with my bandmates watching that game, watching Lamar Jackson throw the ball into triple coverage in the end zone. Odell was wide open on that play. He could have picked up a first down there, and maybe even a touchdown. I forget where exactly Odell was, but all I remember was seeing him wide open.
I remember that too.
I don't think it was as much as he's washed. It's just he wasn't being targeted.
I still think he's old. I think he should just.
He is getting older,
but like still like. I mean, I'm sorry. I just don't understand when you have a receiver wide open why you would throw in a triple coverage.
Because you're blind.
Yeah.
You don't see it. You got to think about these cute quarterbacks have to have insane reaction times because if you don't, your head's getting taken off by a 6 foot something 300-pound lineman.
Yeah, I don't remember if Lamar was under pressure there, but I do remember like Odell was here and then the triple coverage was over here. It was in his line of sight.
I'm telling you, the tunnel vision gets crazy. It's you see it sometimes and sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
So it's whatever.
Yeah. Did it just out of curiosity? Also Mike Williams can make a heavy impact wherever he ends up.
100%.
Oh, definitely. I mean, Mike Williams, he still was really freaking good, even though like that offense kind of went to doggy doo-doo water when Easton Stick came in. I just think
Easton Stick
62 points.
Yeah, literally got dropped a nuke, and then he also got injured, if I'm not mistaken, during last season too. So I think like Mike Williams is also one of the most underrated vertical threats in the NFL. Dude, you could literally throw a ball like 10 feet in the air, and bro could make like an insane, like absolute Randy Moss style catch.
Yeah.
Like, bro is just talented up the wazoo, and I think like a team is destined to take a risk on him, but I just think like at the end of the day, it's I don't know. It's not.
It's a business.
It's a business.
It's a business. Speaking of businesses, players reach an age at which they must eventually call it quits. Nick, I'll let you talk about it first since yours happened first.
Bro, okay. Kelce, I've been expecting since we won the Super Bowl because that conversation.
Didn't he initially retire and then come out of retirement too?
No, that was another media trying to be fast instead of accurate kind of moment where they just kind of like jumped the gun because he said, "Oh, I might consider it," and he never really officially announced it. He made hints at it at the end of last season, but he was like, "We got a job to finish. Like, let's finish it next year." Because he really believed in the team, and he just, I mean, it fell apart, and it's just really tragic because, like, it's not what I want, you know, it's not the way I want it to end for him, and I really want him to come back as a coach, but he has said that if he's going to come coach, he's going to coach, like, high school, middle school, college.
Yeah, because I'm sure he doesn't want to spend a lot of time away from his family.
Yeah, and that's a big thing for him and his family. That's one of the big reasons why he retired, but I saw literally after we got Saquon, he like basically tweeted out or he said on his podcast or something, he's like shit, I might have made a mistake. I think I need to run it back. So he really regrets that decision right now. So I'm like maybe, but I also like I'm ready to move on because like I've kind of been letting it sit for now. So I'm like, all right, bet. Like honestly, it's also time to give Cam Jurgens a shot. Like he's been doing really good stepping in when Kelce needs a break. I mean, he's been playing really good, but I mean, he's not going to be Kelce.
Yeah, it still hurts losing, you know, a guy that spent so much time in the organization. And from what I remember from that Super Bowl run, I mean, he was the one with the dog mask, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then
him and Brandon Graham.
Yeah, and then his his speech at the Super Bowl parade.
Oh,
So, okay, fun fact. I have been kind of like an iPad baby, and I've been playing Madden Mobile again, and I accidentally pulled a 152 overall Jason Kelce middle linebacker card.
how do you even do that?
Middle linebacker?
I was some weird
Out of position, baby.
Out of position. It's him in the Super Bowl fit. That's his outfit. I was
absurd.
like, I'm looking at this. I'm like, why does he have 160 speed? Kelce was never this. Why does he have 100?
Kelsey's kind of fast.
I was like, why does he have
Oh,
120 man coverage? There's no way in hell. There's no way in
Honestly,
hell.
Madden Mobile got ruined as soon as they allowed players to go over 99 overall.
Madden Mobile got ruined after 16.
Yeah,
Let's
honestly.
be real. So.
But no,
Yeah.
it just was really tragic. But Cam Jurgens' era starts now. I think he's got a really good potential to replace him, and like actually be good. He's not gonna be him, but he'll be good at replacing. And if Spencer and mine shutting the fuck up, bro is literally snickering off to the side about God knows
She
what.
jerking on my cam.
Hey, I got a fantasy football team name next year. Let me write that one down. But no,
Oh, she jerking on my cam till my cocks hurts.
bro, back when we had. What was the Long brothers' name?
It was Chris Long, Fletcher Cox, and Jalen Hurts. Long Cox
my
Hurts.
Long Cox Hurts. That used to be my fantasy football name. That used to be my name for years, bro.
Dude, no, I remember until Chris Long retired. Like,
Yeah.
left.
Disappeared,
Jesus Christ, I'm like,
bro. It always had Cox in my name. It was just always.
It just fit. It just fit. It was. Oh
It
my
was
God.
set up perfectly.
Was it-
Speaking of Cox, I gotta.
Didn't he also retire?
He also retired.
Oh, L.
Shut up, bro.
She Fletcher on my Cox till my Jalen Hurts. I'm sorry. I'll see myself out. These are really bad.
Oh my God. You're turning him into Elmo Chan over here, bro.
Okay.
Bro.
Fletcher.
Bro, Fletcher
Cox.
Fletcher Cox retiring is like probably the saddest. It's probably almost as sad as Kelce retiring because he also is somebody who is going to be in the Hall of Fame one day. Just a really talented defensive tackle. I mean, not as good as the one we're about to get to, but really good for many years. And it's one of those things that's like, I think you can also speak to this. You can speak to it a little bit. But players that can stay an entire 13-plus year career in one city and play for one team, I have nothing but respect for those players. Regardless of, Jason Witten playing for the Cowboys, Tony Romo for the Cowboys, I have respect. They committed to the town, committed to their, to their team.
Witten played a year for the Raiders.
Okay, boo-hoo.
Well, that wasn't all his fault. Dallas was moving on from him. That's not his fault.
I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
but you know what I mean? Like, you play almost your entire career with one team.
It's just that because it shows like a level of consistency, not only in your play and your dedication to the team, but the team's dedication to you.
Yeah.
And that's really hard to find nowadays.
Oh, especially with all of these signings that are going around. Like, there's so many players that are just now moving around that will never be able to say that for themselves. Players that might only play for two teams in their career. Like McCaffrey is a big example. Like, McCaffrey might only play for two teams in his career, but he'll never have that same dedication to one city.
Don't even.
Hear me
out. I would say, even put bias aside, I would say that bias his would lean more towards San Fran because
it would lean more towards San Fran
because he grew up in the area. He went to Stanford.
Homegrown.
You could argue he's more homegrown. You could.
We're not.
No,
going
but
back
I'm
to
just saying,
that.
like, he'll have that identity with the Panthers, right? Panthers.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it feels like so long ago.
It's
But
all,
it was drafted in
yeah.
2017.
I know,
need to
it
remind
feels
you
like
that.
so long ago. But, like, he played a large portion of his career. He broke out for them. Like, he would have never been a 49er if he never played really good for the Panthers.
He would have been a Niner if we made better draft decisions.
That
Draft class. Because he went like what, 5th overall?
Something like
We
that.
took his teammate Solomon Thomas at 3. We should have taken him at 3.
I mean, that would have been crazy. But, it's just
taking Mahomes after.
okay.
It's neither here nor there.
It's just the point that it's just like that level of dedication just won't be replicated in this future of this league with the cap going up and players just
Wanting money
and it not being about dedication. But there still are players that are dedicated to their team Brandon Graham just re-signed another year with the Eagles.
I don't see that.
He's the
happening much
longest
longer.
tenured Eagle player in NFL in team history. Like
I don't see that happening for much longer either. I see him retiring. In the next year,
he said this is his last year. He's like,
okay.
this
I
is my
didn't know
last
that.
ride. Let's go. And it's just like, you don't see it anymore. And I think with Cox, he was just such a good teammate too. He was up for the Walter Payton Man of the Year a few times too. Like, just a really good guy on and off the field. The only player to ever openly shit talk a U.S. president. Like, bro is an unreal person, dedicated to Philly through and through.
Yeah, and speaking of defensive tackles that have spent their entire career with one team,
Homegrown, as you will.
homegrown.
He's from Pittsburgh. I'm sorry.
Okay.
TJ Watt.
Regardless, I mean, arguably one of the greatest defensive players of all time,
That I can.
and arguably the greatest of our generation. Of course, like, I was expecting an Aaron Donald retirement somewhat soon, because there were little whispers after we won the Super Bowl that he was considering retirement. And of course, getting up there in age, having just finished his 10th season. I was seeing it more so after like maybe 2 more seasons. I wasn't really expecting it to be this soon. I wasn't expecting it to be this soon. It caught me. It really caught me by surprise. I remember I was driving home, and I was at a red light, and it honestly, this is probably gonna be one of those like, oh, I remember where I was type shit.
Honestly, with a player like that.
Like, I was on my way home. I was sitting at a red light, and I thought, I'm gonna open Instagram real quick, just scroll for a bit while I wait for the light to change.
Bro sees Aaron Donald in the black and white, thought he died.
No, I saw the post the Rams made saying quarterbacks rejoice. Okay, so earlier that morning when I woke up, I went on Instagram, and the first post I saw was Aaron Donald restructured his contract. So I was like, okay, cool. Because, I mean, he's done that before, so I was like, okay, cool. And then, later on I saw that post saying quarterbacks rejoice, and my initial thought was, that's a weird caption. He's restructuring his contract. Like, why would they be rejoicing? And then I scrolled again, and then I saw like one of the Rams accounts I follow posting Aaron Donald announces his retirement, and I like genuinely I was shell shocked. I was like, there's no, like, literally the first words out of my mouth was, there's no fucking way. I remember those were the first words out of my mouth, and like then I saw Donald's post and everything, and I mean,
Weren't we joking about it after they won the Super Bowl?
well, no, because
it was like the joke. I don't know if he said anything like
He said he was thinking about it. He never.
Yeah.
Well, because I remember that rumor came out on the day of the Super Bowl, but then at the parade he was saying like, "Oh, run it back. We're gonna run it back." And so he like kind of put those rumors
fell
down.
off a cliff.
Yeah, but that's not the point.
It totally is the point.
I'm gonna strangle you.
I dare you.
But
I might enjoy it.
I'm just gonna.
We're still recording. I hope I just want to remind you two, we are still recording.
A, don't threaten me with a good time.
The
B,
mega pause was crazy.
B, I just want to. This is out. In 10 years, his 10-year career, made the Pro Bowl every year in the league. Made first team All Pro 8 of those years, from 2015 to 2021, and then this past season, of course, Rookie of the Year, 3-time defensive.
You won Rookie of the Year this last year?
Yeah.
No, it's not Ben Simmons or Neanderthal.
3-time defensive player of the year, which I
Simmons.
believe he's
tied with JJ.
Tied with JJ and
Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah, for the most, I believe,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Most
And then
in what?
at defensive player of the year. And then of course
Didn't Reggie White win 4?
I don't remember.
They had
I'm gonna look that up real quick.
they had like a different. They didn't have the AP Defensive Player of the Year. They had like a couple different ones. Because I was looking it up and I was confused because it said he had 5 Defensive Player of the Year.
Okay, I see.
I don't.
3-time UPI NFC Defensive Player of the Year,
okay.
and then 2-time NFL Defensive Player of the
Okay,
Year.
so he won Defensive Player of the Year 3 times.
Yeah, which is tied with JJ and Lawrence.
Okay.
Yeah, and then of course a Super Bowl championship, which I mean he had, if I remember correctly, 2 sacks that game, and then of course the game-winning play at the end, the pressure on Burrow to force the incompletion on 4th and 1, which is again, I vividly remember where I was watching that.
Same.
Yeah. like Nick was saying earlier, like the dedication that these players have to spend their entire careers with one team. Obviously not one city since he was drafted in St. Louis, but still staying.
Yeah, but that's not his fault.
That's
not when a team relocates.
Of course, but still staying with the same organization. Literally from he was here from the Jeff Fisher days. So, and
hey, we shouldn't be laughing. That was our Chip Kelly days. So like, let's be
correction,
real.
Your Chip Kelly days.
And
mine
also,
were before.
What I also want to talk about in regards to Aaron Donald retiring is what it means for the future of the team. Obviously, it's going to be a massive blow not having him on the defensive line anymore. But we've already seen glimpses from his future replacement, Kobe Turner, this past season, who was a Defensive Rookie of the Year finalist. I mean, obviously, having a mentor like Aaron Donald, even just for the one season. I mean, and like I said, I think I said this the last time we recorded. After the Super Bowl year, Donald kind of stepped more into a mentor role. Like, his numbers kind of went down a bit. He was still producing at, a similar level, but he kind of moved more to a mentor role, saying like, okay, I'm not going to be playing much longer, so with the last couple of years I have in the league, I'm going to, pass on what I know and everything to the younger guys on the team. And we saw immediate impacts this past season with Kobe Turner and Mike Hoyt.
Yep.
I think the future of, the Rams defense and that specific position is in good hands because, Kobe Turner was impressing me a lot this past season and a lot of other people as well. It's just obviously going to hurt not having Donald there. That was honestly my favorite part of going to Rams games was when they came out of the tunnel and they always announced the defense. And of course he's the very last one they send out. They're playing like the standard like music when the players come out. It would always change when it was Donald to like a big like thunderous like
because he's so mid.
Damn.
Worst football take of all time.
I'm about to witness a murder.
Take of all
I'm
time.
watching.
the worst.
I'm gonna witness a murder.
I'm just kidding.
You are going to witness a fucking murder. But no, like my favorite part of going to Rams games was getting to watch Aaron Donald, and of course I got to see him make big plays. It's just it's gonna suck not having him here anymore. It would be nice to have him back as like a coach.
DC
defensive coordinator.
Nah, it's a big jump. He's got to go through
at the very least, like defensive line coach.
Yeah, that's where you start, especially for a man like him at his age still, where he can still, get in the position and still show the moves.
The one video of him like choking the dude and like,
oh my god, dude.
I can see
he
him.
does need to work on his anger issues.
I can see him as a coach being like, okay, this is what y'all are gonna do, and he like fucking just chokeholds a player.
Or hear me out, he becomes the Iowa State defensive coordinator.
Iowa State. He went to Penn State. He went to
Pitt.
He went to Pitt.
I didn't say he went to Iowa State.
Huh? Why would he go to Iowa State?
Great defense.
That's such a random school to have a good defense. Why not Georgia? Or why not like Bama? Or
they're just known for their whatever one is the Hawkeyes. They're known for their.
That's Iowa.
They're known for their defense.
It's Iowa State. That's where George Kittle went to.
You mean George Kittle?
But anyways,
I'll hurt you.
Regardless of my optimism for the Rams' future, I'm still grieving, of course.
Yeah.
And now for Michael and I's section where we get to actually laugh and shit on everyone's favorite team, America's team, the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah!
They signed! Let me pull this up. Let me pull up.
Remember, they're going all in this offseason.
They're all
right?
in.
They're all in.
Let me pull up the list of players that they signed this free agency. Eric Kendricks. Woo! Jordan Lewis. Woo!
Oh my god.
Trent Sieg.
Oh! Right.
And absolutely signed diddly squat. And you want to hear the list of players that they lost? Like notable players? Rico Dowdle, running back. Tony Pollard, running back.
Ooh.
Michael Gallup, wide receiver.
Ooh.
Let's see. Leighton Vander Esch, linebacker, cornerback Stephon Gilmore, and safety Jaron Curse.
Damn.
That is abysmal.
But we're all in, guys.
We're all in.
We're all in.
We're all in. I cannot wait to see who they have to replace these guys. And Tyron Smith. I didn't even mention their best player that they lost. Tyron Smith. They're all-pro offensive tackle. Like, come on. Bro, I mean, like, I get it. Like, I get it. It's one thing if you're trying to, like, restock, get some draft capital, and maybe go for, like, a semi-rebuild just to rejuvenate the team. They didn't get any draft picks for this. This is just...
Wait, no draft picks out of all time.
None of these guys were traded. These were all guys they just released.
Oh, bruh.
And I'm like, I get it. Like, the Dak Prescott to CeeDee Lamb train is a very really good pipeline. But that's not enough to carry you to a Super Bowl. And we saw that.
Yeah.
We quite
couldn't even get
saw
past
that.
Green Bay.
Couldn't get past Green Bay. And, well, Spencer's not here. San Francisco almost got clipped by Green Bay. Oh, man, if that kid would have made that kick, oh my God, it would have been over. But anyways, dude, like, they also lost Dante Fowler. Like, there's just no way that they can come back from this without, like, doing some big signings. Because that team is just in shambles.
Yeah, and
right
I'm gonna go back to my list of players that are still available. I mean, I'm trying to think. Of the guys, so again, Mike Williams, Stephon Gilmore, but Mike Williams, Chase Young, Jadeveon Clowney, Justin Simmons, Adoree Jackson, Calais Campbell, OBJ, and Michael Thomas. Like, realistically, how many of those guys fit into Dallas's system?
Not many. I don't think, really, if any. Because, like, you just kind of have to think about, like, that defense is very specific, and I can't remember what player it was. There was a player that just signed with another team. I can't remember. He was a pretty big player, too. And they asked him what the difference was between playing in Dallas and playing in anywhere else. Mm-hmm. And he said, the one thing about Dallas that I never liked was the fact that all eyes are on you at all times. Mm-hmm. You could literally be sleeping and people would be watching you and making note of what you're doing. He's like, there's no privacy on that team, and every workout, every training, every practice is watched by media, by scouts, by fans. It's all, like, publicized, everything they do. So a lot of those guys just naturally aren't happy playing there because they're just tired of, like, the media being all over them, being like in the spotlight 24/7 because having zero privacy. And, like, there's a difference between being, like, a guy like being on a team like the Chiefs or the Eagles or the Giants, or the 49ers, teams that are huge name teams that are constantly in the media. But, like, those teams have an expected level of privacy, and they have an expected their own reputation with the fans. They have their own reputation with the media. They have their own reputation within each, the organization. And Dallas is just in shambles in terms of that. So I just think it's, like, really, really unfortunate for them in terms of just for them. Great for the rest of the league, because the worse the Cowboys do, the better it is for everyone else.
100%.
But, like, bro, that's not all in. And that's not what a winning team looks like.
And how many days did it even take for them to sign a player?
Bro.
Like 3 or 4?
Like, it took them, like, honestly, most of the week. And the guy that they did sign was, like, some, like, third-string safety. Yeah. Like, it wasn't even, like, anyone good. And then they started announcing all these players that they're cutting, and it's just like...
You said, like, they said they were going to be all in.
I'm like, if you don't have anyone to replace them or anyone to sign...
Induct that comma into the Hall of Fame.
Induct that comma into the Hall of Fame.
All in my ass.
Really doing the Lord's work on that.
Did you see RG3 post about it? And it was just at his desk, like...
Holding so much together with that
one Spider-Man scene holding the train back.
Holding the train.
It's Mr. Incredible.
Yeah, literally. But oh my gosh, bro, that team is in fucking shambles, and it's a celebration. Woo!
Fuck Dallas.
Fuck Dallas.
Fuck Dallas.
I'm not sorry if we have any Dallas listeners. Fuck you too. No, I'm kidding.
Got 'em.
I care about all my listeners, just not the Dallas ones.
Got him.
Are we missing anything else?
I don't believe so.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to talk
Let me just make sure I didn't miss any notifications real quick.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I did.
I think we covered everything.
I'll
At least the
check.
major shit.
Did you want to
Yeah.
talk about the draft at all or not?
It's coming up. It's gonna be a shit show. Quarterbacks are gonna go higher than they need to. Voila. Blake Corum to the Chargers. The will has been written. I'm sorry.
Honestly,
I
bro,
mean,
that would be insane.
It's,
Putting him back in that
it's
offense.
gonna happen. It's 100% gonna happen because they don't have Eckler right now. And Herbert needs all the
Another
help he
player
can get.
done dirty by their team. Sorry.
Austin Eckler. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, the whole Chargers team, look, he got done dirty.
Wasn't he like? Oh no, it was Keenan Allen. Was the last guy from the San Diego team, or was Eckler?
I think
there too?
Eckler caught the ass end of it, but even then, it doesn't matter. It's
Yeah.
like they're gone.
Yeah.
They're gone. So, but yeah, the draft's gonna be really interesting. We could definitely do some coverage of that before and or after. I haven't honestly been really interested.
Probably
in
make
this.
mock drafts.
Outside of the top 10, like I have not cared about this draft class, except
Kool-Aid McKinstry to the Eagles.
yeah, he's going to the Niners first. Besides the point,
Yeah, too bad we got to pick before you.
it's crazy because you're not going to pick him. We know the Eagles. Your Jalen Rieger streak proves that you're not going to pick him. Besides
Our
the point,
literally like last 3 years of drafting has been unreal.
Jalen Rieger negates all of that.
Jalen Hurts negates that. Trading for AJ Brown
Nelson
negates
Aguilar.
that.
Anyways,
But
besides the point.
but
He was like a 7th round pick, bro.
yeah, but Hurts is literally getting his job taken by Kenny Pickett.
I'm
so.
literally gonna snap your face. In half.
Besides the point, the only draft picks I care about outside of the top 10 and Kool-Aid have to be the legacy picks for the Niners. I doubt we're going to get any of them. If we get like 1 out of 3, I'll be happy. But it's Brandon Rice, Luke McCaffrey, and Frank Gore Jr. I don't see us picking up Frank Gore. I could see us picking up Brendan very seriously and maybe Luke. But I doubt we'll get any of them. 1 would be nice. All 3
Honestly,
would
another
be
quarterback
batshit.
would be great.
Another, I was for depth reasons, I would agree.
I mean, like, why not use your 1st round pick on like a
JJ
better-
McCarthy.
Yeah, JJ McCarthy. He's better than.
I will not tolerate this.
Brock-
I will
I mean,
not
hey.
tolerate the tush push merchant yapping at me about
Okay,
this.
hey, how many natties did Purdy win?
Damn straight.
He also outgunslinged a lot of pro quarterbacks.
I don't know, bro. That ring chick.
How
was
many
crazy.
natties? I was gonna say how many natties did your QBs win, but I remember Stetson Bennett sitting so far up that
Yeah.
bench, that heated bench. I don't think Stafford won a natty, did he? I don't think so. He wasn't on that
where did
Georgia
Stafford-
team.
I don't believe so, but he won
He
a
was,
Super
on,
Bowl.
he was
so.
on that Georgia, but that's not what we're talking about.
I know.
If
but-
only we had a tool that could tell us.
The internet was
I doubt it.
I
Anyways,
don't
whoever
think
drafts
Stafford won
Milton
it.
is gonna have the best quarterback of the draft.
Milton's an interesting pick. I'm not gonna lie.
Bro, did you see him? He swinged it like
He's
70
60
yards down the field with 0 effort.
Doesn't he have like a 65-mile-per-hour throw or some shit
Yeah,
like that?
dude,
It's actually
yeah.
kind of wild.
He's actually crazy, but Penix is better anyway. So
I would be inclined to agree, but I have not seen enough from Milton. But that's besides
that's
the
fair.
point. I think that's everything.
We are foring.
We are scoring.
And we are sportsing!
Thank you for listening to the Four Score Sports Podcast, this excellent NFL football exclusive. And we'll catch you next time. This is your play-by-play source. We'll catch you in the next episode. Have a good day.